Hey you guys, it's your girl Internet, and today be coming at you with a video, and it's called It Begins. NYC grocery store closures over theft. This is one reason why so many stores are closing now. Walmart, Target, Sephora, Route 21, Bed Bath & Beyond, CVS, Walgreens, all of those stores that everyone pretty much has, they're closing because of all this stealing, like all these thieves. And it's to the point that like don't nobody really know what to do. And I know like a lot of times they don't want to hire enough people, but they need to, because I mean it's getting ridiculous. And if they want their store to be covered at all points, then they need to hire more people. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you can see me, and let's jump into this video.
Now nearly all grocers in New York City say they have been victims of shoplifting this year alone. And 60% of those stores say they've been burglarized every single day of the week.
Oh my God, that is so
the city's
sad.
fallen to a point where if there's something on a shelf, anything, it is a target for thieves, who've now set their sights on our food supply, robbing local businesses until they shut down, and the city is powerless to stop this from happening for some reason.
As we all know, retail theft
Golly,
is
look
an
at them.
ongoing problem for bodegas, grocery stores, mom and pop businesses, and both common and luxury retail chains.
I think a lot of people would be surprised that it's almost every single day.
Coffee, cheese, shrimp, nothing is safe.
Are you concerned sometimes for your safety?
Absolutely. Retailer is just open game. Walk away with anything.
Simple shoplifting's really graduated to organized, sophisticated crimes. It's like the wild, wild west out there.
Shoplifting is a misdemeanor.
Golly.
Merchants want increased penalties.
Shoplifters, which Governor Kathy Hochul is going after, introducing a $45 million initiative to drive down retail theft.
The smash and grab efforts, they go in and swipe everything off the shelves. Oftentimes they're loading into a stolen vehicle.
Meanwhile, here in New York City, it's reported that retailers lost close to $4.5 billion last year.
We are all victims when retail theft happens. It drives up the cost of things, and it also creates this environment where people are hesitant.
So almost 100% of grocery stores have been shoplifted recently. But nobody's talking about how New York City's latest plan to stop shoplifting won't actually punish the people who shoplift. Instead, it's only aimed at punishing people who become violent while shoplifting, which means peaceful shoplifting can continue surging out of control. With organized theft rings running full-time businesses, not just targeting retailers like Macy's, now they'll rob your local grocery store and offload stolen oranges at a bodega or a curbside produce truck. Because even though stealing physical merchandise like a North Face jacket will make you more money, those are now chained to the stores that sell them, so they're harder to make off with. But the real reason shoplifting continues to surge to levels we've never seen before is because it's still possible in this city to steal under $1,000 worth of stuff and not go to jail. Which means any thief can start their own business tomorrow selling products they got for free.
They need to drop that $1,000. They need to drop that to like if you steal more than like $100. Or whatever like that, that's a crime, because they're just too much. You can get a lot for $1,000 and go and sell it. No, drop that stuff to $100 or $200 or something like that, and take their tail to jail. Because I mean, even if you do have to steal, you shouldn't have to steal that much. You shouldn't have to steal that much. I'm not condoning stealing, because I ain't never stole. Because, oh my God, my grandma will come back and slap the black off of me. And my mama. No, that's something we do not do. But they need to drop that down from that $1,000 to like $200. That's it.
Free, effectively closing down the stores they steal from, who then have to compete with their own stolen merchandise. And what's truly insane is how thieves are now literally threatening the food supply of New York City. And if this continues, it could make things tougher for some of the city's neediest residents when the grocery stores and bodegas they rely on shut down for good.
Ahmed is owner of Stop One Deli here on Gun Hill Road for 30 years now. He says they are robbed on a regular basis and fearful of doing anything about it. Are you concerned sometimes for your safety?
Absolutely, for my safety and the employment safety.
Minutes away also.
So first it was Macy's, then it was Walgreens, and now it's the small mom and pop independent stores that sell food who are now being targeted. Which makes sense because once you put the big chains out of business, all you've got left are the local businesses. And if a big drugstore like this can't figure out how to secure its products, what chance does your local bodega or grocery store have? Most of what they sell can't even be locked up behind the progressive plexiglass we see everywhere in this city. Because they sell food, because they sell beverages, most of what they have cannot be chained behind something. And when you combine that with insanely high rent for what in most cases is a very tiny little storefront, you've got a situation where these businesses are not exactly making millions. And that doesn't leave a lot of extra money lying around for security guards. But just as your local bodegas are getting looted into oblivion, the same thing is happening at your local grocery stores. And when one of these places shuts down, it could take the rest of the neighborhood with it.
Minutes away also is Carlos Collado, 30-year resident, 15 years as the manager at this fine fare on White Plains Road, sending us surveillance video after surveillance video while describing a new climate of emboldened shoplifters.
They feel like the law protects them, like there are no consequences. Totally emboldened. So
now, to understand how shoplifting is never a victimless crime, this grocery store, it's the only one in the area. Everybody living around here, this is the store that they shop at. If it's gone, where are they going to go? And even if the store itself doesn't close, as they deal with theft, they have to raise their prices because if half the stuff on the shelf gets stolen, the other half has to cost 100% more for them to make the same amount of money. And higher prices hurt legitimate customers who obey the law and are just trying to make it in one of the most expensive cities in the country. Which so essentially means that shoplifting is a tax on the rest of society. And the more it continues, the more everyone has to pay for the same stuff. But eventually, prices rise to a point where nobody can afford what the store sells. And when that happens, the store has to shut down. It can no longer stay open and operate because its prices are too high, and if it brings them down, they won't be able to pay their expenses and make a living. And customers that might be used to shopping at a little place like this, they don't have unlimited money. At a certain point, it will be cheaper to take the subway and waste your time traveling to another part of town that has another store that hasn't been looted to a point where its prices are so high nobody can shop there. On top of that, the majority of this thievery, it's not just one person stealing a loaf of bread. No, these are organized retail gangs that make a living off stolen products. And it's so bad and so prevalent, you've got entire swaths of town that now resemble ghost towns in New York City of all places. And the New York Post interviewed several deli and grocery managers who all said when they saw someone stealing who was obviously in need, they did not care. Which means although greed does have a lot to do with why once profitable businesses are shutting down, it's not due to the greed of the business owners. Instead, it's the greed of the shoplifters.
And that don't make no sense. If they see someone that really is in need, like, I can kind of get, like, they don't say nothing about that. But then they have all the gang members that does it. Like, they have, like, a legit gang. So just to go steal. That's a whole nother story. Like I said, drop that price down to 200, throw their tail in jail. But then they be like, the jail's going to be full. Okay. And make them, well, they can't make them pile up on each other. They can't do that. Start torturing them, then they'll stop. Don't do that. Don't do that.
totally emboldened. So now they take an extra step now. They want to fight us. They constantly. It's often a battle.
Shoplifters have grown so bold, their illegal businesses so profitable, they now feel entitled to the very inventory they never paid for in the first place. And this is why physical altercations inside these stores are now so common. And what that's doing is it's turning the local places who are just trying to survive into complete war zones. And the sad thing is, nobody working at these local businesses gets paid enough money to put their life on the line for a hat, or an apple, or an orange for that matter. Now, the governor's new plan to stop shoplifting only increases penalties for shoplifters who also become violent while they are stealing things from a store, which means that if shoplifters go into a store and they're on their best behavior, this new plan won't offer them any new consequences for their behavior. And since the police are powerless to stop these criminals, you've now got a situation where thieves make a living off the backs of the innocent in more ways than one.
This Bravo supermarket in the Bronx is clean and...
Okay, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? If they come in there and shoplift peacefully, then nothing won't be done to them. Okay. We all gonna take a moment on that one. We're gonna let that one sink in.
feeds the neighborhood, but they're also hemorrhaging between $1,000 and $2,000 a month from theft.
Shoplifting is bad. It's terrible.
Coffee, cheese, shrimp. Nothing is safe. Several months ago, Jose says a woman came in with a baby stroller, filled it with these logs of salt.
So I bought this massive brick of Bustelo coffee on Amazon because this was the cheapest I could find these Bustelo coffees in. And it even looks like it came from a legitimate distributor. It's shrink wrapped. It's got the cardboard under it. This looks pretty legit. But these little bricks are the same ones that get sold at the supermarket. What if these are stolen and they were placed inside this package? I've got no way of knowing that. Professional thieves are really good now. They will steal things individually and repackage them, sell them online, and all this packaging and stuff that you need to make your product a bundle of 12 packages of espresso is all readily obtainable. This is already a huge problem with other sorts of retail theft, clothing, electronics, stuff like that. But food, the same thing's possible if you've got stuff like this that's non-perishable. And what's insane is the reason all of us are shopping online in the first place is because we're looking for a deal. We're looking to save money, and online you can do it. And we think, oh, that's just because it's online. It's because there's not an actual store that has to pay things like rent. And you know something? That is partially true, but the store that you bought it from, they also don't have to pay for things like inventory because the goods are stolen. And it's ridiculous to think that the entire shoplifting industrial complex operating in this city happens because legitimate people are also the victims of it. We don't understand that we're buying the things that are closing our own stores. And stores like this aren't shut down because Robin Hood was trying to feed the poor by stealing from the rich. You've literally got people raiding local businesses, stealing as much as they can in a half an hour. And since all this inventory costs the thieves absolutely nothing, you've got a pure profit business. And if the criminals get arrested, since they don't go to jail, if it's under $1,000, they can get right back out. They don't even miss work. And although these theft operations might enrich the people at the top, a lot of the people at the bottom who are doing the actual stealing, these are folks who are being exploited. People suffering from addiction, from homelessness. Crooks convince them they can earn quick cash today by bringing a trash bag full of beauty supplies, detergent, or espresso back to a warehouse. And without real help from police and from a justice system that cares about businesses like this, there's no way it stands a chance against an operation like that. And think about a grocery store losing $2,000 a month just from shoplifting. If your business is already struggling because the rent's too high and because your taxes and other fees just for operating are through the roof, a crime-ridden environment could be the final straw, and your business could make the unfortunate decision to close up shop. And who's the winner in a situation like that? Certainly not the business owner, because now they're out of a job. Certainly not everybody who lives around here, because now they're out of stores to shop at. And you know what? It's not even the criminals who do the actual stealing, because eventually the store's gonna be gone and they're not gonna be able to buy any food either. It's completely destructive. Is this a total nightmare? Absolutely. And that's why the government is moving forward with this plan to punish violent shoplifters. It's better than nothing, but the real question is, why is it taking the government so long to act on this? Why have so many stores had to close down? People lose their jobs, customers lose their shopping centers. Sadly, it's because the people running New York don't see a card. You ever have people come in here and try to steal stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a store in New York City that's never been shoplifted from?
That's hard. That's a hard one. Because it's so many people in this city.
Yeah.
It's so many people in this city.
The lawlessness, the chaos that is going on in our stores, in our communities all over the state of New York, it must
You
stop.
better hurry up and get his camera for somebody to yank it.
$25 million for a dedicated retail theft unit within the state police. $15 million for district attorneys, and $5 million to help businesses with security. The question tonight, will that actually protect merchants?
So here's some good news from the governor. $45 million, that's a lot of money, but unfortunately, it won't all go to purposes that people think are gonna have an effect. But it's also worth noting that it's not the governor's fault or the mayor's fault that we have a shoplifting problem in this state. After all, they didn't write the laws that have led us to the place we're at today. And to a certain extent, their tools for dealing with an out-of-control crime crisis are somewhat limited. So first up, we've got $25 million for the police, who can arrest people who then get released because the laws here don't jail people for stealing. Now, yes, the state police, they're the ones who bust a lot of these big-time retail theft rings, and the leaders of those operations are responsible for way more than $1,000 worth of theft. And the leaders might get locked up, but the low-level criminals who are still out there robbing these stores, shutting them down, they're still walking the earth. There's also $15 million set aside for district attorneys to go after these criminals. criminals. But the whole problem in New York City is that progressive laws that protect criminals instead of punishing them, those laws exist because people believe in them. Judges believe in them. District attorneys even believe in them. So the people that are supposed to prosecute the criminals end up feeling bad for them, sympathetic towards them, and may not be asking for the harshest penalties they could, which might actually land somebody behind bars. But the last $5 million, this could actually do something, because it has to do with grants related to in-store security for local businesses who need it the most. For example, things like security guards, security cameras, these could help in discouraging crime at the source. But that brings up an interesting question about all this. If a $5 million grant to businesses, that's almost like an admission that things are happening inside the business that the city's not able to stop, and the business needs more resources to deal with themselves. So why not give businesses the whole $35 million? At the end of the day, if even bananas are being stolen and there's nothing the police can do about it, why not give businesses the resources to tackle this problem on their own? But money for businesses, that's definitely better than what other local leaders here have tried to come up with. One local leader wants to start taxing landlords who have vacant storefronts. Now, think about that for a second. If the store closed and left because they weren't making enough money to pay the rent, if the landlord has to take less rent, they're essentially subsidizing the activities of shoplifters who lowered that business's margins through theft to cause them to shut down in the first place. But okay, there's a new plan on the table. How long is it going to take to work? And will it save businesses from shutting down completely? And what do local business owners think about this?
They're releasing repeat criminals. Crime hurts us.
Indeed, crime hurts all of us. Now, Hochul's proposal is actually for next year's fiscal budget.
Oh, okay. So it's at least 1 year away. Meanwhile, criminals are still going to walk around doing what they've always done. And even if businesses do hire guard dogs and put up cameras and install security apparatuses, what does anyone think the result of that is actually going to be when there is a legal system and a justice system on the other end of all that security footage that isn't actually going to punish anybody? Because at the end of the day, the reason we've got such a problem with repeat offenders is because the first-time offenders were never punished in the first place. And what's truly fascinating about this new push to try and stamp out crime is it comes after an effort that started a year ago to try and expand the number of food-related businesses in areas that are lacking. And if you're not sure how you could have no grocery store in an area with lots of people, then you haven't been paying attention to this video.
His new business has opened as part of the New York City program called Fresh. The program offers zoning and tax benefits for grocery store owners to open in areas that the city says have limited access.
So grocery stores have been struggling for a long time. We know this. And a year ago, the city admitted that, hey, these stores, they don't have enough money to operate. For some reason, which we can't seem to identify, stores lose money, they close, they leave, and people have nowhere to buy food. And obviously, last year's program to try and expand stores by giving them discounts and not admitting the whole reason why stores have trouble staying open has missed the mark completely. And here we are a year later with those same types of stores having an even tougher time trying to make it in New York's crime-ridden environment. And you know something? It's really hard to have a crime-free environment when the people who are supposed to enforce the laws regarding crime view all criminals as victims. For example, some schools of thought see criminals as victims of a society that has been unfair to them in some...
How in the world is a criminal a victim? I mean, like, okay, in some words, I can kind of see, like, if someone's homeless and the society has done them wrong or whatever like that. You know how the vets are, the veterans, they come back, they lose everything, and they be homeless and stuff like that. I get that point. But the other ones, when they just run in there and just get it and they go. And then, you have, like, the people who's on drugs and stuff. Like, no, you did the drugs yourself. I don't feel sorry for that. Now, the people who just need it and don't have the money for it, yeah, I can kind of see that for them. But not all that other stuff, no.
manner, which gives them permission to victimize store owners who are obviously wealthier and better off than they are. While at the exact same time, those business owners are seen as victims of the landlords who they rent from who charge so much that they have to shut down. And think for a moment about how different New York City would be if we lived in a place where when criminals did something wrong, they lost their freedom. They were not allowed to roam the streets. They were not allowed to go back home and sleep at night and think about what crimes they were going to commit the next day. You would probably have zero retail theft rings operating if all of the criminals who were doing the actual stealing stealing were behind bars. If these crime kingpins who are selling on every single website can't find workers, they're gonna have to shut down, not the stores they steal from. And in a world where everyone who does something wrong is actually a victim of somebody else who deserves it, you don't actually have any criminals, do you? Is that the right attitude? Is it New York City's attitude? What should we do here to stop this out-of-control, peaceful shoplifting epidemic? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
I don't know what y'all could do for New York. New York is New York on some other stuff. New York is on some other stuff that I have no clue what they could do. Y'all gonna have to help me with that. I promise you, I don't have no clue whatsoever, like what to do with them. How they trying to make it into like they trying to soften the blow for these people so bad. Like they just like, oh well, society has took him down through there and he just looking for a way. That's the thing. People want to be baby now. Like, dude, you stole. You go to jail. You don't get your ass out. You gonna stay in jail for 3 months or a year, whatever, however long, because I'm not finna find out how long you stay in jail for, because I don't want to be the person to find out. But, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like today's society, people want to be baby too much. Back in the day, like, if you stole, you're gone. You're out of here. So nowadays, you still, oh my God, society have just done him so wrong. Have done her so wrong. Don't steal. I can understand if society actually have done you some wrong, like the veterans or the people who just poor and they don't have enough money for it or something, but just running and going. No, I don't feel sorry for that. I don't. But you guys, you tell me what y'all thought of the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, you guys.